So are we being paid a visit from another star system? I mean, we've got these mysterious objects streaking through our cosmic neighborhood, and, they've got everyone asking some pretty huge questions. So today, let's dive right in and explore how we, as humans, try to make sense of the great unknown. And that really gets to the heart of it, right? When we spot something out there that just defies an easy explanation, what are we looking at? Is it some new kind of comet? Or, and this is the big one, could it be a piece of actual alien technology? It's a fascinating question, and believe me, it is absolutely lighting up the scientific community right now. Okay, so here's our game plan for today. We're going to start with how we explain the unexplained, then we'll look at a kind of modern-day swap in thinking. From there, we'll dive into the interstellar objects themselves, compare science versus speculation, and then we'll finish up on the final frontier, data. Sound good? Let's go. All right, first up. To really get a handle on what's happening now, we've got to look back in time. Because for centuries, whenever humanity stumbled upon something it just couldn't explain, we had a pretty specific way of filling in that gap in our knowledge. Philosophers have a name for it. They call it the God of the Gaps. And it's a really simple but powerful idea, right? It's basically this. When you get to the absolute edge of what you know and there's a gap, well, you fill that gap by invoking the power of a god. It's a way of finding an answer when, the science just hasn't caught up yet. And oh man, this concept goes way back. Think about ancient Greece. Sailors back then didn't know a thing about meteorology. So a sudden, violent storm at sea, poof, that was clearly Poseidon being angry. But here's what's really fascinating. This way of thinking wasn't just for ancient myths. No, seriously. We're talking about Sir Isaac Newton, the guy who literally wrote the book on motion and gravity. Even he did this. He invoked God at the absolute limit of his own, incredible genius. When he was laying out his masterpiece explaining the solar system, he found this one little problem, a tiny flaw his own equations couldn't fix. So Newton figured out that over long periods, the gravitational pull from big planets like Jupiter should be slowly, yanking Earth right out of its nice, stable orbit. His own math was telling him the solar system should be unstable. But obviously, it wasn't flying apart. So what was his conclusion? God must be stepping in every now and then to give it a little nudge and fix things. I mean, that is a textbook God of the Gaps argument. Okay, let's hit the fast forward button and come back to today. We're living in a world that is just soaked in science fiction, right? We've got Hollywood blockbusters, incredible technology all around us. And that old God of the Gaps way of thinking, it didn't just disappear. Nope. It's just been, let's say it got an update. And the logic is exactly the same. It's just a swap. Where we used to say, can't explain it, must be a God's will, now we often hear, can't explain it, it must be alien technology. And this is what we're calling the alien of the gaps. It's our modern version, our tendency to fill in those blanks with ET. I bet you've heard this one a million times. How could the ancient Egyptians have possibly built the pyramids? And for a lot of people, the answer to that huge gap in our historical understanding is, yup, you guessed it, aliens. It's a really powerful and honestly a surprisingly sticky idea in our culture. Okay, so how does all of this tie back to our original mystery? Now that we have this idea of the alien of the gaps in our toolkit, let's take a closer look at those strange visitors that have been passing through our solar system lately. Get this. For decades, astronomers have been searching for objects visiting us from other star systems, and it's only in the last 10 years that we finally started finding them. Just 3, to be exact. We are literally in brand new territory for science here. And this is exactly where our puzzle really starts. And let me tell you, these objects are weird, like really weird. They just don't act like the normal comets and asteroids we're all used to. I mean, their path through space has this extra push, something that gravity alone can't explain. But when we look for the usual suspect, like gas shooting off a comet, we see nothing, 0. Then you add in their strange spinning and the fact that their brightness changes like crazy, and you've got yourself a genuine cosmic puzzle on your hands. The very first one we spotted was given the name Oumuamua, and the name is just perfect, really. It's a Hawaiian word that means first scout. How cool is that? It's almost like the name itself is leaning right into the mystery of this incredible first visitor. So, okay, when you're staring at a puzzle like Oumuamua, you basically come to a fork in the road. You can go down one path, which is this big leap of speculation, or you can take the other path, the slow, methodical process of science. And this quote right here, it perfectly shows the logical trap of the alien of the gaps argument. Think about it. It's a total paradox. It starts with, I don't know what I'm looking at, and somehow ends with, therefore I know exactly what I'm looking at. It's a leap of faith that basically just slams the door on any more investigation. But in science, saying I don't know isn't admitting you failed. Not at all. It's the starting gun for discovery. It is the most honest and crucial first step you can take because it's what opens the door to asking new questions. And this is the most important part, going out and gathering more data. And that's the whole process, right? This is how science moves from ignorance to understanding. Step 1, admit you don't know. Step 2, get more data. Step 3, test your ideas. And finally, step 4, you let other experts try to poke holes in your work through peer review. It's a slow, deliberate journey. It's definitely not a leap. And here's the key thing to remember. Science knows that we humans are biased. It expects it. That's why it has these built-in error-checking systems like peer review. It's basically a process where other smart people look over your shoulder, they challenge your assumptions, and they make sure your conclusions are actually based on the evidence, and not just on what we wish was true. Which brings us to our final section. Now, it might seem like aliens is the most exciting answer you could possibly get, right? But there's another possibility on the table. And honestly, for scientists, this other answer is way, way more thrilling. So here's the choice, laid out plain and simple. The speculative leap just says, case closed, it's aliens. But the scientific path, it formulates a hypothesis, and that hypothesis is maybe these visitors are a completely new class of natural object, something that nature can create that we have just never, ever seen before. And just think about that for a second. That possibility is just staggering. Discovering an entirely new kind of natural object in the universe? We would have to rewrite the textbooks on how solar systems are even formed. It would push the absolute boundaries of what we thought we knew. Now that is a discovery. I think this quote just sums up the scientific mindset perfectly. The idea that it could be aliens, it's not totally dismissed, it's on the list, but it's way down at the bottom. It's the thing you only consider after you've ruled out every single possible natural explanation. You gotta do the hard work first. And so I want to leave you with this final thought. What happens when we resist that temptation to just jump to the easy, sensational conclusion? What new discoveries are waiting for us out there if we just choose curiosity over conclusion and learn to embrace those 3 powerful little words, I don't know?